Welcome back, third grade scientists. Today, we're going to look at inherited traits in plants. In this unit, you've been studying inheritance and variation. Today, we're going to look at traits that plants inherit from their parents and what happens when offspring inherits these traits from their parents. What are some traits a flower may inherit from a parent? Well, they can get the color of their petals, the height of the plant, the type of stem they have, and the color of their leaves, all traits that come from their parents. In today's activity, we will create an offspring using the traits of both these parents. So we're going to create an offspring that came from these two flowers. So you notice the first parent has orange petals and a yellow center. They have a 3-inch stem that's dark green with 2 dark green leaves. Parent number 2 has a brown center on the flower, purple petals, a light green 4-inch stem, and light green leaves. So when we create an offspring, they could have traits from either both or either one of these parents. So now let's draw our flower or offspring. In order to do this activity, you will need some drawing supplies. I'm going to be using colored pencils. You can use crayons, markers, whatever you have available. You need a plain white sheet of paper. After we're finished with our drawing, we're going to remember to label the traits and the parent the trait was inherited from. So we're going to call them either P1 or P2. And we're going to look at how they were similar to their parents and what the differences are. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment and I'm going to switch cameras so that you can see my screen as we create our offspring from those two parents in the last slide. Okay, so here you see I have traits from both the parents all mixed up on these little cards. I'm just going to randomly choose traits and we're going to create an offspring. We're going to choose a stem length, a color of the leaves, color of the petals, and color of the center. So we'll just make random selections. So you can jot down all the traits of both parents and mix them up in a little baggie or envelope and then choose your traits. Okay, so our offspring is going to have 2 dark green leaves, purple petals, a yellow center, and we have the leaves already. We need a stem. And a 4-inch light green stem. So this will be our offspring. So now we're going to begin drawing. I'm going to begin by drawing the stem. So our offspring is going to have a 4-inch light green stem. So we're going to use our ruler. We're going to draw a stem that's 4 inches long. Then we're going to have 2 dark green leaves. So I'm just going to create the leaves on either side of the stem. And we're going to have a yellow center. So we'll be coloring that yellow. And our petals are going to be purple. So I'm just going to draw. I think this might be showing upside down on your screen. So I'm going to just flip this so that it's right side up for you. Okay, so now comes the important part, the coloring. So our offspring is going to have a yellow center. So I'm going to color the center of my flower yellow. It has purple petals I'm coloring rather quickly, but when you do this, you can take your time and color really neatly, beautifully. I will probably go back over this and outline to make it look really nice and sharp. So this is a possible offspring of those two parents. So the leaves are going to be dark green, and then we're going to label where this offspring inherited its traits from. And it had a rather long stem that was a lighter green. Okay, so now that our coloring is done, the two dark green leaves came from parent number 1. So I'm just going to flip this around. So I'm going to write dark green leaves, and I'm going to label this P1. So we can see that it inherited that trait from parent 1. The yellow center also from parent 1. So yellow center, P1. The 4-inch light green stem came from parent number 2. And the purple petals also parent 2. So now you can see we've labeled the traits and the parent that it was inherited from. So this offspring got some traits from parent 1 and some traits from parent 2. Okay, we followed all the directions, and now we can notice some of the similarities and differences between the two plants. While one had orange petals, our offspring had purple petals. While one had a brown center, ours had a yellow. While one had light green leaves, we had dark green leaves, and our stem was 4 inches versus 3 inches, light green versus dark green. So this is a fun, easy activity to study inherited traits from parents in flowers. And you can see that I've added some other examples, some other possibilities that could come up from your random selection of traits from the two parents. You can do this activity over and over again, and it's fun to do with a buddy and randomly pick out traits and see what your offspring flowers look like. Do they look similar? Do they look different? How are they the same? How are they different? Great work, third grade scientists. Keep learning and keep exploring.